denying the Scottish people what they want, and that is another referendum on independence. Now, they absolutely can argue against that referendum, campaign against that referendum, but we're talking about simple democratic norms here, and it's positive to see some politicians moving in that direction. Now, what I wouldn't want to see is some sort of commission that dictates the level of support in which independence should be achieved before we move forward. That,
Over 100 meter, rechtsafslaan naar A91.
The reality of the matter is that mandate after mandate, the Scottish people have voted to leave the United Kingdom, and we have a pro-independence majority.
Yeah, and listen, sorry, just on a point, because I would love to stay and talk about this all day, but I'm heading towards the news, and I've only got a couple of minutes left, and I just want to read all these texts and everything that are coming through.
Rechtsafslaan naar A91.
To text me, and they want to talk about it, so I really appreciate your point, but I just want to bring in this from Martin in Aberdeen, who says, if Mr Swinney is that confident in having the support of a majority of Scots holding a referendum on a single question, or do you want Scotland to exit the UK, which would require a clear majority of the whole electorate? That is then the mandate, says Martin in Aberdeen. And it's kind of the point that Tory was making there, and we've heard many times across the morning about that, and I reiterate that point about re-engaging the electorate. Erin, who's in Fife this morning, a generation, my daughter was 14 and missed the last vote. She's now 26 and suffered Brexit, COVID and countless Tory governments. She is the next generation from previous no to voters, but now yes. And this version, the no campaign, that's what to hang on to the one for the generation vote, given the leeway every single
Over 900 meter, op de rotonde neemt de tweede afslag naar A91, Guildford's Road.
Right, it is. Thank you so much, by the way, for your conversation this morning, all your texts, all your messages, and your calls. It is 9:57.
Home of every roar. Home of every dream. Home of the Scottish Cup final.
Over 500 meter, op de rotonde neemt de tweede afslag.
Celtic versus Dunfermline Athletic. Sportsoon brings you the Scottish Cup final, live from Hampden, Saturday afternoon from 2. Listen on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
Linda's been on as well. We do require a referendum for independence. In 2014, the majority of youngster voters said yes, they have the right to speak again. Sorry if I have not got to your text, I didn't get a chance to get to this morning. Keep them coming in, and I'll try and read as many of them out as we continue the programme. Right, we're heading towards the news at 10. Our sports news correspondent Chris McLaughlin's joining in the studio, because something's happening tonight, Chris. I don't know what it is.
Something, yeah, someone mentioned something's going on.
Right, question I put to your listeners, is this D-Day, is this make or break tonight? So just, if you're not across Scottish football, it's
Over
the
2,5 kilometer. Op de rotonde neemt de tweede afslag naar B998, Guildford's Road.
Celtic draw or win post the Saturday.
Yeah.
What's the general feeling?
So clearly it's not quite make or break, kind of feels that way. General feeling is Celtic clearly tails up after beating Rangers at the weekend. Hearts have had a phenomenal season, have led the league title race since October, something unheard of in a game in a country completely dominated for a long time by Celtic and Rangers. History could be written tonight, another chapter, a memorable chapter in the history of our wonderful game could be written tonight, or it could go to a final showdown on Saturday at Celtic Park, Celtic against Hearts. Either way, Colin, it's going to be memorable.
Where are you tonight?
I'm at Tynecastle.
You're at Tynecastle.
Tynecastle.
Does that then suggest, because there's the possibility of...
Yeah, I mean, Hearts can win the title tonight, Celtic can't win the title tonight, so clearly, editorially, we have to be where the biggest story could happen, and clearly the biggest story could happen at Tynecastle tonight. So yes, all guns blazing for us editorially at the BBC at Tynecastle tonight. You won't miss a single kick of the ball.
Right, I'm going to be speaking to... So Chris is going to stay with us for a wee while, and we've got Celtic fans, Hearts fans, and players and stuff as well.
Over 1 kilometer. Op de rotonde neemt de tweede afslag naar B998,
just wait and watch it to find out exactly what's going to happen. Give us this morning 08885 92 95 00, or you can text me 80295.
Across Scotland with the latest news, sport, music and culture.
On digital radio.
BBC Sounds
smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio Scotland.
Ryan's already been on the text and he says, I can't believe it's only, well, it's 9:30 when he texts, the longest day ahead for us Hearts fans in our lives. Gorgon will be electric come tea time, and no matter what happens, Hearts are here to challenge for the foreseeable. 80295, do you agree with Ryan? Right, let's get your news at 10 o'clock this morning from Nosy.
Op de rotonde neemt de tweede afslag naar B9
Streeting, who's seen as a potential leadership rival to Sir Keir Starmer, has had a very brief meeting with the Prime Minister at Downing Street. Sir Keir is resisting moves to oust him after 87 MPs urged him to go and 4 ministers resigned from the government yesterday. A joint statement from the unions affiliated with the Labour Party has said it's clear that Sir Keir will not lead the party into the next general election, and a plan will have to be put in place to elect a new leader. Our chief political correspondent, Henry Zeffman, says the brevity of the meeting with West Streeting is telling.
17 minutes between arriving in the door of 10 Downing Street and leaving out of the door of 10 Downing Street. That is not the usual length of time that a Secretary of State spends in 10 Downing Street talking to a Prime Minister in any circumstances. Clearly these are unusual circumstances, but it doesn't instinctively feel like long enough for either side to have been making amends, does it?
Well, the Prime Minister has agreed to meet First Minister John Swinney in a face-to-face meeting. Mr Swinney said it was particularly welcome that the Prime Minister had agreed to meet next month to discuss a referendum on independence. However, Downing Street said the meeting was agreed to discuss shared issues, not the Constitution.
Je nadert een verkeersdrempel.
A hospital safety expert has told BBC
Rechts afslaan naar East
the
Lincoln
entire
Road.
Queen Elizabeth
Dan
University
links
Hospital
afslaan naar
campus
University
should be
Road
risk
West.
assessed. Andrew Poplitt carried out safety reviews for the Scottish Hospitals inquiry and believes it's incredibly difficult to say whether the hospital is safe or unsafe for all patients. NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde now accepts some patient infections were probably linked to contaminated water, but continues to insist the hospital is safe. CalMac has announced that the MV Hebrides will return to service on the
Links
Little
afslaan
Minch
naar
this afternoon.
University Road
They
West.
say that means the restoration of normal service on other routes on the West Coast Ferry network by the end of the week. Aileen
Over
McDonald reports.
500 meter.
CalMac CEO
Links
described
afslaan.
the situation over the past weeks as unprecedented, with a third of its fleet out of action at one point due to maintenance and repairs. The ferry operator says it expects to restore normal service on multiple routes following the return of a major vessel this afternoon. CalMac says the MV Hebrides is scheduled to operate on the Little Minch, servicing Skye, Harris and North Uist. It says by the end of the week services will operate with the usual vessels on routes to Coll, Colonsay, Mull, South Uist and Tiree. Company CEO Duncan Mackison said the return of the MV Hebrides is welcome. He added the situation has been immensely challenging and thanked CalMac staff and communities for their understanding and support.
Edinburgh Zoo is celebrating the arrival of the first ever Scots-born baby sloth. He's named Atty in honour of Sir David Attenborough. Jess Brown is the zoo's head keeper.
I was hoping that we'd get like the higher-ups approval at the zoo to go with Attenborough or Atty, because he famously loves sloths as well. So when he was asked a few years ago if he could be any animal, he said undoubtedly a sloth.
Well, now over to sport. Here is Phil Goodlad.
Nina, thank you. Hello everyone. The Celtic legend Roy Aitken has told us he fully expects his old club to go on and win this season's Premiership title. He joined us on Radio Scotland Breakfast earlier. On the day, Hearts could be crowned champions if they win at home to Falkirk and Celtic beat Motherwell at Fir Park. For his part, the former Hearts captain Gary Mackay, who also spoke to us on Breakfast, says that his old club just need to focus on their own performance and not get distracted.
Kom je aan bij Stirling Court Hotel. Je bestemming ligt aan je
It's a huge
rechterkant.
night of football ahead. Sports Sound will have it covered for you. Kenny McIntyre and the team with you
Alles is
here on Radio
ingesteld.
Scotland
Vertrekken maar.
from 6 o'clock. The St Mirren interim boss Craig McLeish says it's all building up momentum. It's all about that and about building